And hello, I'm Bonnie Roman with Simmons & Realtors. Today I'm going to share my real estate home buyers counseling session. It's important for buyers to be prepared when traversing this process, and so I thought it would be nice to put this on video and to share it, and if you know anyone that would like to see it, please share it with them. To start off, I'm with Simmons & Realtors. We are the largest real estate company in Kentucky, and we have over 500 agents. We are ran by Brad DeVries. He is our CEO. Our company is actually owned by Home Services, which is a Warren Buffett company. One thing I really liked about Simmons, and the reason I chose them, is their training. And their mission says to train realtors to provide professional guidance through the complex process of the real estate transaction. Another reason that I really enjoy working for Simmons is their core values. And their core values are honesty and integrity, continual pursuit of excellence, mutual respect and caring, loyalty in our relationships, and family takes priority. And that takes me into a little bit about myself. I was in banking for 20 years, and then I left banking to raise my son. And when it was time to go back to work, I had been serving a lot, and I wanted a profession that I could serve. And I thought real estate was the perfect venue for that. And so my personal mission is to let my passion to serve others help you with your real estate needs. I want to lead differently, teach relentlessly, and serve passionately. So on with a little bit about what the process involves. First, it is important to select a realtor that you can work with in the process. Someone that you trust, that you believe will represent you and your needs to the fullest. Then you select a lender and get a pre-approval. The reason a pre-approval letter is so important is twofold. One, it lets you know how much you can afford in a house. And two, it makes your offer, once you identify the one that you would like to make an offer on, once you identify that house, it makes a much stronger offer. We are in a very bidding war seller market, and so when a seller sees that you're pre-approved, then they know that yes, you can afford the house, and it makes your offer maybe stand out against someone else's. And then third, you must decide what you want in a house. You share that, you figure it out. Do you want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with a 2-car garage, or maybe a basement? The basement takes priority over the garage, and different things like that. And so once you decide what you want in a house and how much you can afford in a home, then we can do a search on our multiple listing service. We put those parameters in, and we look at the homes on the internet through the computer. Most people see their home on the computer first prior to ever going out to the actual residence. Matter of fact, over 95% see it first on the computer. And then you identify the one. So that's kind of jumping to the very top. So on my next is the offers and negotiations. Once the home has been identified, then you will write an offer. And during an offer, you have negotiations. There's actually 3 times during home buying that you have negotiation. That's the initial purchase, during the inspection period, and during the appraisal time if necessary. And then so on the initial offer, we'll discuss that right now. On the initial offer, you make an offer. You choose the house you want. I do a comparative market analysis. A seller can ask anything for a house they wish to ask. But the important thing is the house is worth that they're asking or that you're offering, because you don't want to get to the appraisal part and it not appraised. So we do what's called a comparative market analysis, make sure it is a good, fair offer that you're making to this house, and you present the contract or the offer. Well, the seller can then either accept the offer or counter the offer. And if they don't, if you didn't maybe give them exactly everything they wanted, or there's just a time of, it's called a counter offer, and you counter back and forth until you can have meeting of the minds. And then once you have a meeting of the minds and we have an accepted contract, then we go into the inspection period. There are 3 types of inspections. There's the general home inspection. There's the pest inspection, radon, maybe structural, but these are the 3 common inspections. When you have the house inspected, you have the general inspector is there to really check everything out: electric, roof, plumbing, and then once they write up their report, you have a time period that you can ask for repairs. Now, when thinking about repairs, you need to keep in mind that it really should be in maybe structural, safety, or health issues. Structural is if the roof may be bad, or if the foundation's bad, needs to be secured. Health is if there's mold growing anywhere in the home, for example. And then safety is possibly electrical issue. Is there an electrical box outlets that's not properly wired, and so on and so forth. So if you keep the request for repairs to those 3 items, safety, structural, and health, it makes for a much nicer negotiation period. It isn't a time of negotiation, so the seller again will choose whether they want to do your repair request or not. But once you get through that process, and again, everything's accepted, then we go to the financing side. And when you're working with the lender will need a copy of the purchase contract. They will order the appraisal and the title work, and the appraisal is the 3rd time of negotiations. If the appraisal comes in lower than what you have offered to buy the house, there's another 3-time process, and the 3 things there is the seller should come down to the appraised value. If not, you can pay the difference between the appraised value and what you're willing and your loan value, which I would never recommend, because the appraised value truly is the price the home should bring. And then the 3rd thing is, if you cannot agree during that negotiation time, then be ready to walk away. I always recommend to remember it's business. It's one of the largest purchases you'll ever make. And so it's important to think about it as business and not with your heart, because there will always be another house, even though you may not think there is. That there always will be. And usually it's even better than the one that you're thought. But that's only if the appraisal doesn't come in. Title is important. What the title is, that researches the house title to make sure there's no liens or judgments against the house or the seller, and that you would be able to have clear title when you purchase the home. And then the lender is going to require many documents, and sometimes they require it more than just once. But don't get frustrated. Be sure to get to the lender the papers they need, because that's what they're basing the loans on. And just some examples might be a W-2, your bank statements, maybe a gift letter if someone's gifting you some money for a down payment, for example. And it's just important because the lender puts together the lending package and sends it to what they call underwriting. And then there's a back office that looks at all the papers. They make sure that the documents that's provided are authentic and that you can afford the home. And they check it out, and they might even ask for even more documentation. Remember, it's just a process, and it's not personal, and so please provide that to your lender as soon as possible. And then once everything is documented and they approve the loan through underwriting, then the closing is scheduled. So when the closing's scheduled, there is a final walkthrough of the home. The home should be left broom clean. The repairs should all have been done with receipts received. And repair survives closings, meaning that if they said they had them done, then they should have been done. And if they're not, and you close and you find out differently, you have recourse back to the seller. But I've not had that issue. Everybody's pretty on board with getting the house done and getting it turned over. And so then once the closing is scheduled, then you go to the attorney's office and you sign a mountain of papers, and then you are handed the keys, and that's when it's your home and the business is over. And so now it's time to go home and enjoy the moving in process or decorating. And I have this great little brochure that if you would like to have it, just call me, Bonnie Roman, Simmons & Realtors. It's the buying guide, and I will share it with you. So thank you, and have a great night.